Hari Om Nana.
Hari Om Tali.
How are you?
Oh, very fine. Thank you. How are you?
I'm good.
Good.
We are all good.
Very good. Very good.
Hari Om Nana.
Hari Om Tali.
Modla touch Nana.
I can start?
Yeah, you're fine?
Okay. Yeah.
Okay.
You want to mute everybody else?
I've already done that.
Okay. Right. You okay. You have adequately acknowledged this, no? Good.
Yeah.
Now we are going to go to the third verse.
Yes.
You make a note. Number 3.
I have the list with me.
List with you? Okay.
Yes.
3, 6, 9, 10, 11, 17.
Okay.
25, 26. Maybe we can do perhaps those things.
Okay.
Other thing, you take on the verse number 3, that commentary, and leave the next verse to somebody else, Balaji or so. And the subsequent verse to somebody else who is there if it have.
Fine.
Number 1. Number 2, if there are any Sanskrit italics transliterated into English are there. If it is easy for you to read.
Fine.
Okay, if it becomes difficult, leave it to me. I will take care of that.
Okay, no problem.
It's a matter of, if you think it is easy, it will be an angel, it will be very easy. If you think it's tough, it will be a demon and it will be tough.
Correct.
Okay.
No problem.
Okay. Om. Om Brahmanandam Paramasukadam Kevalam Jnanamurtim Dvandvatitam Gaganasadrusham Tattvamasyadilaksham Ekam Nityam Vimalamachalam Sarvadhi Sakshibhutam Bhavatītam Triguణarahitam Sadgurum Tam Namami Shruti Smriti Puranam Alayam Karunalayam Namami Bhagavad Padam Shankaram Loka Shankaram Shankaram Shankaracharyam Keshavam Badarayanam Sutra Bhashya Krutau Vande Bhagavantau Punah Punah Sadashiva Samarambham Shankaracharya Madhyamam Asmadacharya Paryantam Vande Guru Paramparam Vande Guru Paramparam Narayanam Namaskritya Naram Chaiva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Chaiva Tato Jayamudirayet. You can take on. What I suggest is, when you are starting on the third verse, you are starting on the commentary. But before you start the commentary, you, for the benefit of everybody, as to commentary on what sloka you are going to read the sloka and then go to commentary. Okay?
Okay.
Right. Go ahead.
Hari Om.
Hari Om.
Yatyam doshavadityeke karma prahurmanishinaha yajnadana tapah karma natyajyamiti chapare. Some wise men say that action which is inherently defective is to be given up, and others say that an action which is a ritual, charity, or religious discipline should not be given up. Two contentions about giving up karma. Manishinaha, Shankara says, are learned people who have the vision of Sankhya, which is knowledge of the Atma. Some of these wise people say, prahuhu, that for the sake of moksha, karma is to be given up tyajyam karma. What kind of karma? Karma which has an inherent defect, doshavat karma. Karma is considered to have a defect, Shankara says, because it is the cause of bondage. This means all karma should be given up and one should take to a life of sannyasa, pursuing only knowledge, jnana. Only then can one get moksha. Bhagavan's vision is that you can either give up all karmas for the sake of moksha or live a life of karma yoga for the sake of moksha. Shankara gives another meaning for doshavat karma. Here the suffix vat has the meaning of like, tulyartha, rather than possession. A dosha is any defect. Just as you would give up anything that is defective, like a piece of fruit which is rotten, for example, similarly, you should give up karma. Like how a dosha is to be given up, all karmas must be given up because they are causes for bondage. They say that every karma produces papa and punya, and thereby just keeps the wheel of samsara going. You can never get out of this cycle by doing karma, and therefore all types of karma should be given up if you want moksha. Some people are very vehement about this, while others, apare, contend that some karmas are not to be given up, na tyajyam. What are they? Rituals, yajna, charity, dana, and religious discipline, tapas. Dana, sharing what you have with others, seems to be an especially important karma, a thing to be done. Only when these three things are not given up, can you gain antakarna shuddhi, and thereby jnana, according to some learned people, vichakshana. This is in keeping with the position of Bhagavan also. If you are not ready, karma should not be given up. If out of delusion, moha, you give up these karmas, you will be neither a sannyasi nor a karmi, but one who has fallen from both, ubhaya bhrashtaha. If you are ready, you can give up karma. But this sarva karma sannyasa is an entirely different thing. The Gita Charya presents two stands here. One is that you must give up all karmas if you want moksha, and the other that you must give up kamya karma, but do yajna, dana, and tapas. Here the choice is between sannyasa and karma yoga. But it is only a choice for those who, being ignorant, think that they are supposed to perform these karmas. They alone are kept in view here. Real sannyasa, sarva karma sannyasa, is not the subject for discussion because the contention here is not whether one should become a sarva karma sannyasi for moksha or should one become a karma yogi. Just give me one second, 1 minute. Maybe Bela or someone else can read. In the meantime, I have a call to attend.
Yeah, Hari Om. Yeah.
Over.
The Gita Charya presents two stands here. One is that you must give up all karmas if you want moksha, and the other that you must give up kamya karma, but do yagna, dana and tapas. Here the choice is between sannyasa and karma yoga, but it is only a choice for those who, being ignorant, think that they are supposed to perform these karmas. They alone are kept in view here. Real sannyasa, sarva karma sannyasa, is not the subject for discussion because the contention here is not whether one should become a sarva karma sannyasi for moksha or should one be a karma yogi. This problem does not arise at all because sarva karma sannyasa is knowledge, jnana, that is moksha, and therefore that sannyasa is not under discussion. We are only considering here sannyasa as a lifestyle for the purpose of knowing Vividisha sannyasa. This and karma yoga are open to choice. That is why in the very beginning Bhagavan said there are two committed lifestyles for moksha. Either you can give up all the obligatory karmas or you can perform karmas with a proper attitude. Both are means for moksha. This is Bhagavan's and Shastra's contention. Though Sarva Karma Sannyasa is not open for discussion in this context, both the Karma Yoga and the Sannyasa have to culminate in Sarva Karma Sannyasa, which is nothing but knowing Atma, to be a Karta and a Bhokta, not an agent or an enjoyer. Those who have come out of samsara through knowledge are free from the three major desires: putreshana, vitteshana, and lokeshana, the desire for progeny, the desire for wealth, and the desire for heaven. That is called vidvat sannyasa and is not the sannyasa under discussion here. This discussion is with reference to Vividisha Sannyasa and Karma Yoga. Between these two, there is definitely a choice possible. When there are these choices, Bhagavan Krishna says here,
Balaji,
Hari Om,
you,
yeah, Nana.
you have to now go to the 6th verse. Yeah. You kindly chant the sloka and skip the Pratipadadha and Tatparya also and go to the commentary.
Astu, okay.
Okay.
एतान्यपि तु कर्माणि सङ्गं त्यक्त्वा फलानि च कर्तव्यानीति मे पार्थ निश्चितं मतमुत्तमम्. These three yagna, dana and tapas are nitya naimittika karmas. Nitya naimittika karmas. Dana can be a daily karma or a naimittika karma. All three are capable of purification. But there is one thing you must note here. Even these karmas, itani karmani, in order to be a means for self-purification, have to be done with a certain attitude. Attachment, sangha to ahankara is to be given up. The attitude is they are to be done. Kartavyani. It is given me to perform these rituals. If I were ill, I could not do them, and therefore that I can perform them is given. These karmas are enjoined by the Vedas and are to be done for my own purification, my growth, and the results, phalanicha, are also to be given up. For any meritorious action, there is an enjoyable result like heaven. But if there is no thought that I will gain heaven or earn some punya, then phala is given up. Only then do they become means for self-purification. Besides other duties involved in day-to-day, life, these yagna, dana, and tapas are duties to be performed by me. No matter what happens, I don't stop my daily prayers. This is my vision, me matam, Bhagavan says. And what kind of vision? It is not a vague vision, but a clear vision. Nishchitam matam, and it is proper and final. Uttamam. These karmas are the cause for antakaran shuddhi, and therefore they have to be performed. Some people read itani karmani to mean kamya karmas. That reading is criticized by Shankara here, and he makes it clear that Itani Karmani means Yagna, Dana, and Tapas. If someone is interested in Karma Phala, he will get Punya, not Antakaran Shuddhi. How will he get out of the hold of Raga and Dvesha when the very karma he does is prompted by Raga and Dvesha? Every action that he performs is meant kindly scroll, Brahmaraji. Little down, please. थोड़ा और नीचे. Dana and tapas. If someone is interested in karma phala, he will get punya, not antakaran shuddhi. How will he get out of the hold of raga dvesha when the very karma he does is prompted by raga and dvesha? Every action that he performs is meant to produce a given result, whereby he thinks he is going to be better off, and thus he gets rid of desire only by fulfilling it. But what happens by fulfilling a desire? You only want a repeat performance. In the wake of a fulfillment of the desire, there was sukha. And just to get back same sukha, you want to repeat the course of action that led to it. Naturally, you have to do it again. Or if the desire was fulfilled but did not produce sukha, you find that the desire begins to wane. And if you got the opposite result, you have an aversion, a dvesha, which is another form of desire. The pain is so great that you do not want to try it again. When do you fulfill a particular desire completely? More often, in the fulfillment of any desire, a few more desires are left behind. No raga just goes away without leaving progeny. And if even yagna, dana, and tapas are done in order to get some results, how are you going to get rid of the hold of raga dveshas? There is no way. There is no way you can do it because you are doing the wrong thing. And without getting rid of the hold of raga dveshas, there is no antakarana shuddhi. Therefore, even these karmas have to be done giving up the phala. Then alone they become the cause for antakaran shuddhi. This is Bhagavan's final conclusion, and there is no doubt about the fact that yagna, dana, and tapas should not be given up unless you have antakarana shuddhi. Once you have been freed from the hold of raga dveshas, you can give up all karmas and do whatever you like. Your prarabdha karma will take care of you. If you feel like giving up all karmas, there is no problem. Sannyasa will stick to you, but you cannot give them up just because they are painful. Giving up the painful and going for the pleasant is not, in the end, a pleasant thing because there is no antakarana shuddhi. Therefore, Bhagavan says,
Now, Hari Om, you have to go to number 9. Correct.
कार्यमित्येव यत्कर्म नियतं क्रियतेऽर्जुन सङ्गं त्यक्त्वा फलं चैव सत्याग सात्विको मतः. Sattvic Tyaga. Niyatam karma is the karma that is enjoined by the Shastra as a thing to be done necessarily, not optionally. This includes all duties, both scriptural and secular. Vaidika and Laukika. And for those karmas to be Sattvika, they must be done with a certain attitude. It is to be done karyam iti. The only purpose in doing this type of karma is obeying the mandate of Shastra, that it is to be done. Although it is done for antahkarana shuddhi, that is not really considered another purpose, because as we have seen, it is yourself. Further, it is done giving up attachment to the very ritual, sangam tyaktva. Generally, a ritual is done with the thinking, I am doing this. And in this kind of doing, there is egotism, ahankara involved. Instead of that, when the thinking is, this is to be done by me, therefore I do it, then this, what they call surrender. At this time and place, this action is necessary. It has got to be done. I have no choice in this. Let it be an offering to Ishvara. Doing action with this attitude is Sattvika Tyaga. Giving up the result, Phala Tyaga, means it is not done for the sake of punya or fame or power. An action done without those motives, purely for antakarana shuddhi and Ishwar Priti, to please the Lord, is the one in which the result, phala, has been given up. Karma is not given up, only the karma phala, that is considered to be a sattvika tyaga. In rajas and tamas tyaga, giving up karma is involved due to fear of doing action or delusion. But here karma is
Not able to see it?
no, but that line is still, no? That one line is missing. A little down, Brahmaraji. Rajasic and Rajasa and Tamas Tyaga. Giving up karma is involved due to the fear of doing action or delusion. But here karma is done and the result, karma phala, is given up. Shankara makes a note here that he has told us that the Nitya karmas do have a result. Bhagwan himself has said so. He reminds us of this because there is a contention that Nitya Naimittika karmas do not produce results but are to be done because in not doing them, you incur fault. Akarane pratyavasya. Akarane pratyavasya. That is not true.
Akarane pratyavaya.
Akarane pratyavayaha. While not doing, you will incur. Pratyavaya means some pap. Akarane. Yeah.
That is not true. All karmas, including Nitya Naimittika karmas, produce result. That is why they can be given up. The Nitya Naimittika karmas will produce punya, all right, but you have no desire for that type of punya and are not doing them with that intention. Sankalpa, your expressed intention is only for antakarana shuddhi. Then he presents the other stand, seemingly accepting this argument of akarane pratyavaya to make the same point. An uninformed person may do a karma thinking that even though the result for a nitya karma is not mentioned in this Shruti. Still, the Nitya karma that is done creates the result for oneself of purification of the mind or removal of the ill effects of not doing it. If he gives up even that, Shankara says that is phalatyaga. Why does he do the karma? Purely for Ishwar Priti. This is Shraddha. He does not even care for Antakarana Shuddhi. Shastra has asked him to do this and therefore he does it. He does not care whether it produces Antakarana Shuddhi or anything else. He does it to fulfill the Shastra's mandate, which is fulfilling Ishvara's mandate. That is enough. That kind of attitude, Shraddha, makes the Tyaga Satvika. Whenever we perform the karma, we declare that we are praying for the sake of pleasing Ishvara through the destruction of all the effects of our wrong actions. We say it. We say it in so many words in the Sankalpa that is done at the beginning of a ritual. Mama Upatta samasta durita kshaya dwara Shri Parameshwara prityartham aham idam karishye. This is karma yoga. Pleasing the Lord is not to keep him in good humor, but purely to fulfill the mandate of the Ishvara. That is Ishvara Priti. Naturally, it is a means for purification of the mind because the Shastra accepts that Nitya Naimittika Karma as the capacity to neutralize accumulated papa. Even the desire to neutralize the accumulated papas can be given up, and one can do it only because one is asked to, and one can enjoy doing it. If you can do that, the result will certainly be there. Shankara raises a small objection here. It was said in the beginning that the renunciation of action, which is sannyasa, is threefold. But as they have been described, two of them are karma tyaga, renunciation of karma, and one is phala tyaga, the renunciation of the results of the action. Two are karma sannyasa, and the third is karma yoga. How can these be classified together? Someone says 3 brahmanas have come. But there are 2 brahmanas who know the Vedas along with the 6 auxiliary branches of the Vedas, sadhangas, and the third is kshatriya.
That means shadangas.
Sadangas.
Yeah, shadangas. The 6 angas.
6 angas. Okay. Vedas, shadangas, and the third is kshatriya. How can he then say that there are 3 brahmanas? Here too we have renunciation of karma out of delusion. Tamasa tyaga, renunciation of karma out of fear of physical affliction. Out of physical affliction is rajasa tyaga, and then renunciation of the result of action, sattvika tyaga. 2 are renunciation of karma, whereas the third is renunciation of result. Shankara says this is not a problem because we are not talking about renunciation of karma. We are just talking about renunciation. Renunciation being common in all of them, this amounts to praise of karma phala tyaga because it is the one that is identified as sattvika. Renunciation born of delusion or out of fear of doing work was completely negated as tamasa and rajasa. That type of characterization of the renunciation serves as a criticism and then something else. Karma phala tyaga is praised by calling it satvika. The idea is it is better to keep doing karma and give up karma phala. Thereby, you can gain antakarana shuddhi. Introducing the next verse, Shankara says that the person who does karma, giving up egotism and attachment for results, his mind being unsullied by longing for results, is purified by nitya karmas. Whatever raga and dvesha he may have had gets cleared. Also, by doing nitya karma and avoiding kamya karma, he does not get further entrenched in raga dvesha. The more kamya karmas you do, the more entrenched the raga dveshas become. By avoiding them and performing the nitya naimittika karmas with the proper attitude, his mind becomes subject to this process of purification and thus becomes pure. That mind, now rendered cheerful, is qualified for the vision of Atma. That is, it is capable of Atma, Anatma, Viveka without any hindrance. The person who lives a life of Karma Yoga and is committed to knowledge of Atma for moksha gains this antakarana, which is more or less pure. For him, the clear knowledge of Atma takes place gradually. This has to be told, and thus Bhagwan says, may I read, Nanaji, the 10th shloka?
Yes, 10th you go ahead. 10th and 11th we'll go ahead.
Yeah. Nadveshya kushalam karma kushalena nushanjate.
Kushalena nushajate.
क्षम्यतां न द्वेष्ट्य कुशलं कर्म कुशलेनानुषज्यते त्यागी सत्त्वसमाविष्टो मेधावी छिन्न संशयः. Satvika Tyaga leads to and is conducive for Jnana Nishtha. Let us
you want me to read? You can take a break.
I can read little, Brahmaraji. If
Okay.
you
Let me know when you need a break and I will take on.
Astu. Okay. Dhanyavad. Let us consider the Satvika Tyaga first. His Tyaga, as we have seen, is Karma Phala Tyaga and Tyaga of egotism. He does his Nitya Naimittika Karma with surrender to Ishvara and without the intention of gaining a particular result. Then he becomes a Sattva. Then he becomes a Sattva Samvishta.
Samavishta.
Sattva Samavishta. One who is endowed with the Sattva. His mind is not dominated by Rajas and Tamas. Shankara says he is Sattva Samavishta when he is filled Samavishta with Sattva, which is the cause for the clear, discriminative knowledge of Atma and Anatma. Because he is a Tyagi, a Karma Yogi has a Sattva, an Antakarana which is pure, and because of that, he can discriminate between Atma and Anatma. There is an order here. First, he lives a life of Karma Yoga, and because of that gains Sattva Samshuddhi, and then has the capacity to do Atma Anatma Viveka. If he has that, if he has that discrimination, he is called Medhavi. The one who has this knowledge. Medha is a Medhavi. First, he is a karma phalatyagi, and because of his practice of karma, with this attitude, he becomes qualified for this knowledge, that is, becomes a sattva samvishta. Then he becomes the one who has the knowledge, Medhavi. Once he has the knowledge, he becomes a chinna samshaya. Chinna samshaya, the one whose doubts are gone. The doubts are many. Some of them can be enumerated here. They are whether Atma is free from time or time bound, Nitya or Anitya, whether it is Brahman or not, whether it is real or not real, Satya or Asatya, whether its nature is fullness or sorrow, Ananda or Dukkha, whether it is the doer of action and the enjoyer of the result, Karta and Bhokta, or it is Akarta and Abhokta. Whether Ishvara is different from me or is myself. All these doubts are gone because of inquiring into Atma and Anatma, gaining the knowledge of Atma. A doubt is born only of ignorance. Once he is Medhavi, naturally all doubts are gone because knowledge and doubt cannot coexist. This is said in the Shastra also. Vidyate hridaya granthi chidyante sarva samshayah kshayante cha asya karmani. Vidyate hridaya granthi chidyante sarva samshayah kshayante cha asya karmani. Tasmin drishte paravare. Paravare. Tasmin drishte paravare. The knot of the heart is resolved. All doubts are gone and all karmas are destroyed in this non-dual vision. Knot of the heart is a technical term for avidya kama karma. Avidya kama karma, ignorance, therefore desire, and therefore action and its result. Because of this, there is perpetuation of samsara. How can he get out of it? First, he neutralizes all the karma by karma yoga, thereby taking care of karma itself at that level. Then
He
with
neutralizes all the karma by karma yoga.
He neutralizes all the karma by karma yoga, thereby taking care of karma itself at that level. Then with this preparation, by inquiring into Atma, he eliminates ignorance. Thereby, this three-stranded knot called Hridaya Granthi gets resolved. Bhidyate. This means all doubts clear away, then all the karmas also fall apart because there is no result.
Because there is no individual to sustain them.
There is no individual to sustain them. When does this happen? When he has the knowledge that Brahman, which is both cause and effect of this entire creation, is Atma, myself. Shankara says here that the means for moksha is nothing but gaining a clear knowledge of Atma. After gaining this knowledge of the Atma, he will not have the problem of feeling that it is not enough. He has no doubt about whether he has reached moksha or not, and is not going to ask anyone, "Do you think I have gained this knowledge?" All such doubts are taken care of when he is Medhavi. Someone could challenge him. You have only knowledge of Gita, but you have not gained Vaikuntha, which is moksha. The concept here is that self-knowledge makes you fit to go to heaven, the abode of Vishnu. Even though people may say this to him, it will not cause any doubt in him. He will not question whether he has moksha or not. There is no doubt about it. And fanatics will
come and say to him, what do you
come
know?
and say to him, "What do you know?" When he says, "I know myself," they will say, "That's not enough. You are still a sinner and will go to hell." Without batting an eyelid, when they say these kinds of things, are they going to create any doubt in him? If they do, he is not a Medhavi. If he is a Medhavi, he is free from any kind of doubt. He is a Chin Samshaya. Being a Medhavi, a wise man, what does he do? Na dveshti akushalam karma. He does not despise karma that is not auspicious. That is, he does not despise kamya karma, Shankara says. Why are kamya karmas inauspicious? Even though they are rituals, they are performed for the sake of punya, so that one can get some results later. And in order to enjoy that punya, you must have a body. The karma, therefore, becomes the cause for preparing a new body, and thus Kshamyatam Brahmaraji, there is lot of background noise in my back. Could you please take over?
Yeah, no problem. Why are kamya karmas inauspicious? Even though they are rituals, they are performed for the sake of punya, so that one can get some results later. And in order to enjoy that punya, you must have a body. The karma, therefore, becomes the cause for beginning a new body, and thus for the perpetuation of samsara. Because it perpetuates samsara, kamya karma is called ashubha, inauspicious karma. Having become a jnani, a wise person, he does not despise even kamya karma. When somebody performs a kamya karma, whether laukika or vaidika, he will not detest that karma on the basis of the fact that it does not help in the pursuit of moksha, but only reinforces samsara. If he does, he has a problem. When somebody is doing karma, why should you bother about it? He has a desire, and that is why he does it. Why should you look down upon it or despise it? There is no necessity to hate any karma. Further, kushale nanu shajjate. He does not cling to auspicious karma, the nitya karma done for the sake of moksha. Previously, he had a certain commitment to that karma. Now, he is no longer bound to it. He may do nitya karma, but he does not adhere to it with a clinging attachment. Even though that karma was once useful for him for gaining moksha, because by doing it, he got sattva buddhi, and because of sattva buddhi, he got the knowledge that is moksha. He does not look upon it as something very beloved. Why? Like a bandage, it no longer serves him. For some time, the bandage protects you, saving you from further hurt and from infections, and helps you to heal. Then you remove it. What is your attitude towards that bandage? Is it beloved to you? No, you just discard it because it has done its job. Similarly, once this nitya karma was useful to him, no doubt, but that does not mean it remains beloved to him. He has grown out of it. He may even still be doing it, but he does not look upon it as a means because there is no purpose. The final purpose of doing Nitya Karma is Atma Jnana, which he has gained. Therefore, not seeing any usefulness in it, he does not look upon it as something particularly beloved. Na anusajjate, nor does he hate, na dveshti, the kamya karma. We have seen before in the 5th chapter, Neyasya nitya sannyasi yona dveshti na kankshati. A sannyasi is to be known as the one who does not have hatred or longing. He is neither after something nor repelled by something. This is what is said here again. In reading this verse, it is important to read the second line first, as we have done. Otherwise, it can be and has been for other commentators very confusing. There is an order here. First, he renounces the results of actions and does what has to be done and becomes a tyagi. As a result of that, he gains antakarna shuddhi and becomes a sattva samavishta. After that, he gains atma jnana and becomes a medhavi. And later, eliminating all his doubts and assimilating the knowledge completely, he becomes a chinna samshaya. Being this, he is a free person who has no hatred for inauspicious action or any clinging to auspicious action. As a tyagi, even though one is a sattva samavishta, he is still a karma yogi and not completely free. Shankara has something to say here. The one who is enjoined to do karma, the karta, who has the notion, I am the doer, is the person who is under discussion. By living a life of karma yoga and in time being one whose mind is purified, the one who is awake to the self becomes free. He gives up all karmas with the knowledge, I do not perform any action. Thus knowing the self that is free from all action, which is not subject to birth and death, and all the modifications in between, not doing any action himself, not causing someone else to do, naiva kurvan na karayan, gains a jnana nishtha, characterized by actionlessness. Atma is free from all action. And knowing this, he is one whose swarupa is actionlessness. Then who gains punya? For the actor there is punya, not for the actionless. Actionless Atma never acted and therefore does not gather either punya or papa. What about the ones gathered before? Thus, another question can be raised. Now, he has gained knowledge and therefore can accumulate no new karma phala. But what about the previous karma phala? It is something like an alcoholic who has damaged his liver. Now, he is no longer taking alcohol and therefore does no further damage. But what about the old damage that is already there? He still has to suffer digestive problems because of the old damage done to his liver. The same argument is used here. He has gained knowledge now, but he had already gathered a lot of sanchita karma and has to account for all that. Who do you mean by he? If he is the one who has understood that Atma is Nishkriya, where is he? You are speaking as though there is an Atma, which he had understood, and then there is he who is separate from the Atma. The truth is this. The one who understood the Atma is the Atma, which has always been Nishkriya. Even before, it did not gather punya papa, nor does it now. He thought he gathered it before. Now, there is no before or later. He discovers himself to be actionless. So all the old karmas evaporate, like those of a dreamer waking up. There is no old karma, no new karma, no future karma. That is called moksha. The bondage of karma, which is called samsara, is not there for him. Thus, by this verse is told the purpose, the previously mentioned karma yoga. That is moksha. What about the purpose of the lifestyle of sannyasa? That is also moksha. So it was said, the one who sees the lifestyle of sannyasa and karma yoga as one, he sees the truth of both of them. Ekam sankyam cha yogancha yah pashyati sa pashyati. Why? Because as the Lord says in the 5th chapter, real sannyasa is difficult to attain without karma yoga. O Arjuna, the wise person who is committed to karma yoga reaches Brahman before long. Sannyasastu mahabahu dukkham aptum ayogataha yoga yukto munir brahma nachirenadhi gacchati. Karma yoga is presented here as a means in sequence, kramena. That word, kramena, must be understood. Karma yoga is meant to give antakarna shuddhi and prepare you for knowledge. That is why he says, finally, through assimilated knowledge, one becomes a medhavi and a chinna samshaya. He is the one who does not revile inauspicious karma or cling to auspicious karma, because he is above raga dveshas. He is a sarva karma sannyasi. All this is very clear. What was said earlier is again repeated here. This bears repeating because it is the vision of the whole. Okay, I will read slowly. This bears repeating because it is the vision of the whole Shastra and therefore should be understood well. So we go to verse number 17 next.
Remember, what you read was verse 11, isn't it?
Yes, it was verse
Yeah.
11. I'm going to 17 now.
Yeah, correct.
Nanaji, can I ask a question?
Yes, please.
So, some astrologers suggest some yagyas and pujas and homas. So, for as remedies for certain planetary inauspiciousness. So, doing those karmas, will that be kamya karma, I suppose?
Undoubtedly.
And how not to do it?
Undoubtedly. You want to get rid of the influence of certain planetary combinations, is it not? There is a karma for you. It is certainly a kamya karma.
And if we don't do it, then what happens? If you don't do those pujas, homas?
If you don't do means you are not interested in them. That's okay. You can take to reading the Gita and understanding Bhagavan.
Okay.
That is a more useful karma than doing those kamya karmas as given by some purohit and pandit and things like that to ward off the influences, bad influences of some planetary combinations. What are you interested in? Your Purushartha Nishchaya is important. It is very, very important. Are you a mumukshu or are you a karmishti? You have to choose.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Right.
Nana,
Thank you.
Nanaji, I have another question. Is
Yeah.
it okay? Yeah. So when I on the 10th verse, I think read about the sankalpa. I'm wondering, can you explain that? And the other question is the difference between that egotism. I know you mentioned it when we did this verse, but I forgot.
Sankalpa, what Balaji read, Mama Upata, by me which has been gathered, Mama Upata, Samasta Durita Kshaya Dwara, the entire Papa Karma Durita Kshaya Dwara, that Papa Karma Kshaya. Kshaya means exhaustion,
Mhm.
elimination of that. Samasta Durita Papa Kshaya Dwara, Shri Parameshwara Prityardham, for the sake of rendering Parameshwara as really a happy person. Aham karma karomi, aham karma karishye. This, I am undertaking this karma. That's it. That's what it means.
Mm. Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah,
And then
good.
the other question is about the egotism, and there was some meaning to little different from the egocentric or something. I remember you mentioned it. I forgot.
I don't get your question. Not clear to me.
Okay. The meaning of egotism.
Egotism.
Uh-huh. And
Yeah.
you mentioned something different from egocentric, right?
Yeah, ego sense. All of us who have got the ego sense. Because
Right.
of the ego sense, you know you are Maragatam. That you have practiced as a physician. Now you have retired and you have 2 children. How do you know all this? Is because of the ego. There's no egotism there. Egotism is, that is, you want, because you are a physician, your husband is not. You want your husband to always look upon you as an exemplar, as a person of an important mission in life that you have accomplished, and you want him to venerate you. You want him to respect you. That is egotism. And you want everybody else to acclaim that you have been so great when you were in service, etc. That is egotism.
Okay. All
That
right.
you have 2 children, you got a husband, that you got a house in Cupertino. That is not egotism. That is
Yeah.
egoism.
Okay.
It is because of
Egoism.
ego, you know
Okay.
certain things.
Okay. Got
Okay.
it.
You know
Thank
you
you.
are happy.
Mm-hmm.
That is egoism. It's not egotism.
Okay.
Okay.
Got it. Got it. Thank you
Yeah.
so much.
Ramara, you have perhaps a little time for
Yes, I
doing the
will.
17th verse.
Yeah, we'll do it. Yasya nahankృతో bhavo buddhiryasya na lipyate hatva pisa iman lokan nahanti na nibadhyate. The one who sees the Atma as Akarta is not bound by karma. The person who has undergone the proper process of learning with the help of the teacher and the Shastra does not have ahankritaha bhavaha. That is the notion that I am the doer. Such a person understands that even though the doer is Atma, because there is no doer without the Atma, in reality, Atma is not the doer. Shankara explains how he gets this particular discriminative knowledge, which takes the form of the cognition, I am not the doer. The 5 factors, such as the physical body, senses, mind, etc., are superimposed upon the Atma by ignorance, avidya. Ignorance is the connecting. Yes.
Can somebody say the verse connected with this? The 5 factors? The verse is in the 18th chapter only.
Yeah.
Adhishtanam tadha karta karanam cha pruthak vidam. Etc.
Yes.
That. Okay. Yeah. Good.
Ignorance is the connecting factor, which makes it look as though Atma has a body, a set of senses, a mind, etc., even though it is independent. He has the understanding that these 5 factors are the performers of all the actions. Gunaha guneshu vartante. The gunas move about among the gunas and not I. I am the witness of all these activities. To illustrate, Shankara quotes the Shruti here. Aprano hyamana shubhro. What is that? Hyasharat paratah paraha. The one who is free from prana free from the mind and therefore always pure and above akshara, is cause of all causes. I will read that again. Aprano hyamana shubro hyaksharat paratah paraha.
That Heksharat means indeed that he indeed
Aksharat.
Aksharat, even though undeclinable, Paratah Paraha, that is it. Aprano Hyamana Shubhraha, even though not having prana and not having mind, he is pure. Okay?
Yeah.
Aksharat Paratah Paraha. Yeah.
The one who is free from prana, free from the mind, and therefore always pure, and above akshara, the cause of all causes. He is the one who is the very basis of Maya. That self is free from any modifications or action. The person who sees this is clear in his thinking. He is the one whose mind is not affected at all. Buddhi na lipyate. He has no regret or remorse and therefore does not say, what good did I not do? What wrong did I do? Kim aham
I did not understand the above para. It was little bit confusing.
You did not understand what, sir?
The first what we read just now, before reading the next para.
That Aprano Hyamana Shubhraha.
I did not understand that. Please elaborate it.
Aprano means not having any prana at all. Aprano Hyamanaha. He amanaha. Amanaha means it does not have even the mind. Shubhraha. He is indeed pure, immaculate. Aksharat paratah paraha. He is indeed Aksharat parataha paraha. This Aksharat means Maya. This Maya is indeclinable. That he is even beyond that. Aksharat parataha paraha. He is even beyond that. It is because of him, Maya, during his presidency, has created all this that he has come to know. Then the one who is free from prana, free from mind, and therefore always pure, and above akshara, the cause of all causes. What is the cause of all causes? Maya. Is it not? He is the one who is the very basis of Maya. That self is free from any modification or action. The person who's this is a medhavi, is clear in his thinking. Is that okay, Suresh ji?
Okay.
Okay.
I have to repeat it again. Do that myself.
Okay.
He is the one whose mind is not affected at all. Buddhihna lipyate. He has no regret or remorse and therefore does not say, what good did I not do? What wrong did I do? Kim aham sadhuna akaravam? Kim aham papam akaravam iti? Akaravam. Kim aham sadhuna akaravam? Kim aham papam akaravam iti? He has no guilt whatsoever and he is not plagued with.
Hari Om. What Brahmara read, the Sanskrit words, they are from the Taittiriya Upanishad. Yeah, go ahead.
He has no guilt whatsoever and he is not plagued with the fear of retributions for all his omissions and commissions, thinking, why did I not do the right thing? Why did I do the wrong thing? People are always regretful in this way. But here is a person whose buddhi is no longer affected by any such guilt. This is a very important thing because every feeling of guilt is centered on I. Things that were supposed to have been done by me were not done, and things that should not have been done at all were done. This is the lot of everyone. There are varieties of omissions and commissions, even in terms of accomplishment, education, skill, and so on. People regret, I should have gone to the medical college. I should have studied engineering. I should have learned music. I should have not learned music. Why did I become a teacher of all things? I should have gone to the industry, etc. People can always be regretful of what they did or did not do. All these are based on one's own action. But action itself does not cause guilt. It is the action centered on I that causes guilt. Guilt and I go together. Fortunately, however, I is free from any action. You may say 100 different things, but I performs no action. If that is so, what good or bad action is there for Atma? It never did anything and is therefore free from guilt. Naturally, if one has this vision of Atma, his mind is not affected in any way by regrets and remorse. Tasya buddhir na lipyate. Repentance may be useful in management of your emotions, etc. But it is only for the person who looks upon Atma as the Karta. We are not dismissing repentance here, but we are going one step further and saying that Atma is a Karta, and therefore nothing that was ever done or not done by him can be repented. Even if the Jnani kills, he does not kill. The one who sees this is the person who thinks clearly. The wise person who sees that, even destroying all these people assembled on the battlefield, he does not perform the act of destruction. Hatvapi sa iman lokan na hanti. When he destroys all these people in the battlefield, how can you say he does not destroy? Shankara says, from the standpoint of an onlooker, the person seems to perform the action, but in fact, Atma performs no action. Therefore, he is not bound by the result of any action. Nani badhyate. It comes from the 5 factors, including the body, but not from the Atma directly. Atma is only the witness, Sakshi, the very basis, Adhishtana, of the body and all actions, but itself performs no action. It is the person alone that counts here, and that person performs no action whatsoever. What is to be done is done. When a judge issues a judgment for a person to be hanged, can we say he is guilty of taking a life and therefore has to be given capital punishment? No, because it is the thing to be done. He has no guilt whatsoever because he knows that he is just an instrument in the execution of the law. There is no ego there. This is not a sanction for killing, but by dealing with the most difficult, improper action, all other actions are dealt with. This is called Prathama Malla Nyaya. If you want to become the heavyweight boxing champion, you only need to defeat the current champion. Similarly here, by pointing out the action of killing, he has pointed out all other actions. We have seen, how can the person who knows this indestructible, eternal, unborn, imperishable, kill anything or cause anything to be killed? Veda vinashinam nityam yaenam ajamavyayam katham sa purusha partha kam ghatayati hantikam. And also, he does not kill, nor is he killed. Nayam hanti na hanyate. And this unborn, eternal, ancient one is not killed, even when the body is killed. Ajo nityam shashvatoyam puranaha na hanyate hanyamane sharire. It is not an object of action, much less subject. In the previous verse, it was said that the one who has not undergone...
Excuse me, I have a doubt here. You see, the judge is not guilty of giving the judgment. Then the same thing can be told by a killer also, no? Why he should be punished? Nanaji?
Why he should be punished is Dharma Samsthapanadhaya. If another me has taken somebody else's prana, of which he has no right at all, this kind of a person should not be allowed to continue in his life. So there is a capital punishment. He is ordered by the judge to be hanged. And there is no egotism in that. There is
Okay.
no favoritism in that. It is the duty of the judge for which he is chosen to be the judge. And the circumstantial evidence, the yukti anubhava of the judge, all these point out to giving a decree that the person should be hanged. Okay?
Yeah.
Thank you.
Is,
Thank
is that
In
clear?
Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
thank you.
In the previous verse, it was said that the one who has not undergone the discipline of learning properly looks upon the self, which is actionless, as the agent. Kevalam atmanam kartaram pashyati. That is, Kevalaha atma karta iti pashyati. Before that, it was said that there are 5 factors necessary for any action: Karana, Karta, Adhishtana, Prana, and Daiva. While the Karta, the doer, is Atma, Atma is not the doer. We are not presenting a Karta other than the Atma. In fact, we are not presenting anything other than Atma. The Karta being Atma is nothing but Satchid Ananda, which is completely free from doing. This is not seen unless one removes that ignorance about Atma. Therefore, the person who does not have a clear understanding about the Atma thinks that Atma is the Karta. Even if Atma by itself is not the Karta, why can it not be a Karta along with the other factors? A pertinent doubt is raised here by Shankara. Perhaps the verse means that the one who is not well informed looks upon Atma alone as the agent. Kartaram Atmanam Kevalam Pashyati Durmatihi. Not taking into consideration the other 4 factors required for an action. Without them, there is no possibility of karma. Although Atma by itself has no agency, Kartritva, in conjunction with the other 4 factors it has. Therefore, this does not mean that Atma is a Karta. It is still a Karta, but not by itself. Kevala Atma is a Karta, but in association with the body, etc., it becomes the Karta. Everyone knows this. Nobody looks upon Atma alone as a Karta. Who thinks that he is independent of the physical body and yet performs an action while walking without the physical body? Nobody commits that mistake. If he does, he is a Durmati. Why not take the verse this way? Shankara says that this is not difficult to answer. If Atma in association with the physical body, etc., becomes the Karta, how does Atma establish this association with the physical body, mind, and senses? Atma itself does not undergo any change to be able to form an association. It is avikriya. Being pure awareness, it has no part to associate with something. It is nirava, nirav, niravayava.
Nira avayava.
Nira avayava.
Nira avayava.
Nira avayava.
Correct.
So being pure awareness, it has no part to associate with something. It is nira avayava. How is pure awareness going to associate itself with anything? How can something which has attributes like the physical body be associated with another thing which has no part at all? If there are 2 objects, each having a certain form, association is possible. But when one is absolutely free of attributes, how is it going to associate with the physical body which has attributes. It is not possible. Kevala Atma cannot do any action. Then, what is the meaning of the word Kevala? Why it can be used, while it can be used in the sense of merely, as it has been taken by the objector, it can also be used in the sense of pure. It alone exists, nothing else. It is by nature free from any modification or attribute. The word Kevala here should be taken in this sense of purity, restating a fact about the self. Therefore, in the previous verse, Kevalam Atma Kartaram Pashyati Durmatihi does not mean that Atma alone is seen as the Karta. That is not the meaning, and the next verse confirms it. That the self does not perform any action is very well known in the Shruti, the Gita itself, the Smriti, and it is also reasonable. Gita says, Atma is not subject to modification, it is avikriya. Actions are done by the gunas. Gunaireva karmani kriyante. Even though obtaining in the body, Arjuna, Atma does not act and is not touched. Sharirasthopi kaunteya na karoti na lipyate. The same thing is said in the Shruti. He seemingly meditates and seemingly moves away. Dhyayati iva, lelayati iva. Atma does not do any act of meditation.
Hari Om. What it means is, Jhayayati iva, Lelayati iva.
Dhyayati iva. Not dhyayati. Dhyayati iva, lelayati iva.
Yeah, that that horizontal this thing on top of A, that tells you have to put a dirgha there. Yeah.
Dhyayati iva, lelayati iva. Atma does not do any act of meditation, nor does it get agitated and move away. It only seems to do so. By reasoning also, we can see that the self is avikriya, actionless. By reasoning also, it can be established that the self is without parts, not dependent on anything else, and not subject to modification. Atma is the one thing that is self-evident, and therefore does not depend upon any other thing for its existence. If Atma has parts, they must exist in a locus, and a locus is necessarily an object, and therefore anatma. Parts of Atma residing in anatma is untenable, and therefore Atma having parts cannot be supported by reasoning. Also, because it is self-evident in the form of Chaitanya, everything else becomes evident to the self, including limbs and attributes. They are not self-evident and therefore not Atma. If you say Atma is subject to modification, how do you know this? There should be another Atma seeing the Atma that is undergoing changes. And if we accept this, we will get into infinite regression. Second Atma to see the first, and the third to see the second, and so on. Even if by some stretch of imagination, you are able to say that Atma is subject to modification, you still cannot establish that Atma is the Karta, the doer. What would be its action? It could only be a change centered on Atma. If the physical body, mind, senses, etc. are performing action, it is their action. How can their action be the action of the Atma? Even accepting that Atma is subject to change, the actions involved in bringing about that change are not the actions that emanate from the physical body, mind, and senses. Further, if you accept that Atma is independent of all of them, then that Atma cannot be the agent, karta, of actions done by the body, etc. When the physical body, mind, and senses perform their actions, how can Atma become the karta even if it is subject to change? The action done by one person cannot go to another person who has not done that action. It has nothing to do with him. A given person's action belongs to that person alone, and no one else can be held accountable for it. You may argue that though the physical body performs the action, you have identification with it and take the physical body as yourself. Consequently, due to the ignorance now obtaining, karma that is done can go to Atma. If you say this, I will say, live long, Ayushman Bhava, for that is exactly what I am saying. Even then, Atma does not become the karta. If due to ignorance, Atma is taken to be a karta, that agency, kartritva, is not real. Shankara gives an example. A shell that is mistaken for a piece of silver does not become silver. If you see silver due to your own ignorance of the fact that what you are looking at is a shell, you see a silver which is not there at all. Similarly, if you see an action in Atma due to your ignorance of the actionlessness of Atma, that does not in any way belong to Atma. It is like cloud forms seen as palaces and dust seen in the space sky by children, not knowing that these things do not belong to the space. It is impossible to perform an action without bringing about any change. That is the basis of Shankara's argument. Without change on the locus of action, there cannot be any action. Conversely, wherever there is an action, the locus of that action must subject itself to some kind of change. Without action, you cannot even close or open your eyes. Even deliberately not opening the eyes implies a mental activity. Action always implies some motion, some change, and the changes that take place in a given part of the body, etc., belong only to it, not to Atma. What is said here in this verse is proper. Yasya nahankrito bhavo buddhiryasya nalipyate hatvapi sa iman lokan nahanti nanibadhyate. The mind of the one who has no notion that he is a doer is not affected. Even killing these people, he does not kill and is not bound. His mind is not troubled with remorse about what he did and did not do, because there is no sankara mix-up. That wise person does not do the action of killing, nor is he bound by result of action.
Hariyom. Because there is no, not Shankara, Sankara.
Sankara, yeah, that's what I realized, yeah.
Sankara.
Shankara points out the statement in the 2nd chapter of Gita. He does not kill, nor is he killed. Na ayam hanti, na hanyate. That is because it is said, he is not born, na jayate. This statement reveals the changelessness of Atma. The entire view of the Gita Shastra is presented here properly. Both the one who looks upon the Atma as an object which can be destroyed, and the one who looks upon the Atma as the subject of the action of killing or any other action, do not know the Atma. Ubhautau navi jani taha. Atma does not perform the action of killing or become the object of somebody's act of destruction. You cannot objectify the Atma to destroy it. And therefore, Bhagavan went on to say, Nainam chindanti shastrani. Weapons cannot destroy it. I cannot objectify you, the Atma, in order to destroy you. Nor can you, as Atma, perform any action. It is not possible that Atma is either the subject or the object of an action. Having made this initial statement, he gave the reason why Atma is not subject to death, decay, etc. It was never born, na jayate. There was never a time it was not there, nor having been there, later it will not be. Na ayam bhutva bhavita vana bhuyaha. This kind of a problem does not exist for Atma, because Atma is not subject to time. It is unborn. It is eternal. Ajaha nityam. By giving these statements of reasoning, he tells us that Atma is not subject to modification. It is avikriya. What kind of action can one perform? There are two types of actions. One that you do and one that you prompt someone else to do. Both are your actions. But the one who knows this indestructible, eternal, unborn, imperishable Atma does neither of the actions. How or whom will that person destroy or cause to destroy? He does not perform any action whatsoever. This is sarva karma sannyasa by knowledge. Such a person is no longer enjoined to do any karma because he is not a karta. Having said all this briefly at the beginning of the Shastra in the second chapter of the Gita, Krishna elaborates upon it wherever there is an occasion in the Gita. Even while doing, he does not do. He says, seeing, hearing, touching, smelling, eating, going, sleeping, breathing, etc. He does not think he is doing any action. Naiva kinchit karomiti yukto manyeta tattvavid. Pashyan, shrinvan, sprishan, jigran, ashnan, gachan, swapan, swashan. He also says, the one who sees inaction in action and action in inaction. Karmani yah karma yah paschet, akarmani cha karma yaha. He knows the truth and says in the 13th chapter, even though obtaining in the body, Arjuna, he does not act. We have seen varieties of verses like this in the Gita, showing that Atma does not perform any action. Now, he sums up the vision of the entire Shastra to bring it all together in one place. It is something like gathering rice grains that are scattered all over into one heap. Krishna knows he is reaching the end of his teaching and therefore sums up the whole topic under discussion by saying here that the wise person, the one who knows Atma, does not destroy, nor is he bound. The whole Gita Shastra deals with pravritti and nivritti. The whole Gita Shastra is dealing with karma and sannyasa. Shankara also makes it clear in his introduction that it is centered on pravritti and nivritti. And Lord Krishna himself says, Arjuna, in this world, a twofold commitment was told by me before. Knowledge for the renunciates and karma for the karma yogis. Lokesmin dvivida nishta pura prokta mayanagha jnana yogena sankhyanam karma yogena yogina. In this chapter, you will see again how clearly the Shastra unfolds what is real sannyasa, what is the lifestyle of sannyasa, and what is karma yoga. The entire Gita revolves around these three topics. Sarva karma sannyasa is the main thing to be accomplished, for which you can live a life of either karma yoga or karma sannyasa. in which there is no other pursuit but knowledge. In both these pursuits, there is karma phalatyaga, renunciation of the results of actions, because actions are not done for punya, but for moksha. The one who has the knowledge of the Atma is completely free from karma, because he no longer has any sense of agency, kartritva, and therefore no identification with the body. It is very clear to him that he performs no action, because all sense of agency and actions stemming from that are caused by ignorance. When this is so, there is total renunciation of all actions in the form of knowledge, and therefore the three types of results of karma, ishta, anishta, and mishra, do not exist for him. Just 5 verses ago, it was said, after death, there is a threefold result of karma: desired, undesired, and a mixture of the two. For those who have not renounced their sense of doership, but never for sannyasis. As long as there is an identification with the body, and therefore a sense of doership, it is not possible to avoid karma phala. It will stick to you because you are the doer of the action. Shankara himself says here that this is the essence of the meaning of all the Vedas, and that after properly analyzing it, it should be understood by learned people who are capable of discrimination and inquiry. These are those whose mind is rendered subtle and can therefore probe into the subject matter. Wherever there was an occasion for it, the difference between karma, sannyasa, and sarva karma sannyasa was shown, keeping in view the entire Shastra as well as reasoning. Reasoning is important as a support for the assimilation of the meaning of the Shastra, because there are other possible interpretations. What the Shastra says can be above reason, no doubt, but it cannot be irrational. The whole tradition is presented very clearly here. The Vedic tradition is centered on karma. Either one does enjoined karmas and kamya karmas in keeping with dharma. When moksha is established as the end to be accomplished, one gives up kamya karma and does enjoined karmas as karma yoga while pursuing knowledge. Or one gives up even the enjoined karmas and pursues only knowledge. All this one does for moksha, which is the complete giving up of doership, something that is possible only by knowledge. You don't do anything in reality. In the wake of knowledge, Atma is discovered as one which is incapable of action, and in that sense, the renunciation of doership takes place. Therefore, there are no byproducts of karma for this person, no karma phala, no more birth and death. In these few lines, the whole Gita Shastra has been summed up. Previously, we saw the fivefold constituents of an action, adhisthana, etc. And then the grouping of the actions themselves under 3 heads, kayika, vachika, and manasa. Now, what exactly impels one to do this threefold karma? This Krishna tells in the next verse.
Thank you, Brahmara. Both you and Bella, you have done excellently well. Thank you so much. I apologize who have taken some 33 minutes extra. I have eaten into your manana time, but I didn't want to stop Brahmara when she is rendering the 17th verse, the commentary, which is very, very important. And I thought in the momentum, you must continue. Okay?
Yes.
Maybe this is on one occasion we have gone to some 33 minutes extra.
That's okay.
This is kind of too much. I'm so sorry. Okay. Om Sarve Bhavantu Sukhinah Sarve Santu Niramayaha Sarve Bhadrani Pashyantu Ma kaschid dukkha bhag bhavet. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Hari Om, everybody. Please
Hari
continue.
Om, Nana. Thank you so
So,
much.
Nana,
Hari
Nana,
Om.
just wanted a little advice from you. Are you still there? I think he left. Fine. I will just ask him again. 1 second. Let